Hello everyone, and welcome back. Here I am, my Matrix shades here, and the other day in my also in my Savage Gear SG8 chest weighting suit, which is what we'll be reviewing today, my waders. For reference, I've had these for a year and a half, and to no one's surprise as well, considering all the swearing and the let's say interesting content I post on TikTok. This channel is not sponsored or monetized. But what is monetized under that is actually the t-shirt I wore. But the point is, all my videos are front-loaded with the information. So if you're tuning in to see whether this is worth it or not, I absolutely agree. This is 100% worth the money. I paid, I think it was $420, blaze it, for these things. So 420 quid. And they were definitely worth the money for me. Without a doubt, fantastic. Works in every situation you expect it to, and even shines and stuff that you don't expect it to. Really, really, really fantastic product. So there you go. A minute, and you know what I think of them or not. Now I'll go into why I think that, and then you can make your own assessments from there on. So I think it does exactly what it says on the tin, first of all. So it'll keep you dry, obviously. I've never had them leak. I've never had any issue with any portion of them at all. Zero in terms of that. And they'll keep you warm too. But also, not that they'll keep you warm, they'll also, this is the thing which I think they go above and beyond in, they help you regulate your temperature really, really, really well. So they have this, I forget what it's called, it's basically kind of like a Gore-Tex knockoff. So it's kind of like a breathable, waterproof type fabric deal, right? And that zip as well on the front, which is why I recommend you always go for the zip, is you can zip that down and then you can let that airflow go right through you if you're walking around nonstop. So I've walked kilometers and kilometers and kilometers in these things as well, because they let you wear your own boots at the bottom. If you don't know, these things have like a sock at the bottom and you just wear your own boot. You do have to take the sole out of your boot, I find. I have flat feet, so I need to do that like sometimes anyway with some boots. But here's another reason why it's right in front of you here. This is a ridiculous scenario. So basically one day I walked out on low tide, got stuck, and then couldn't really walk back without drowning myself and going up and over the water. So I had to go up over this horrible jagged cliff edge, very, very sharp rocks that were like falling apart around me in my waders. This is in my waders. You can see like the knee of my wader there in the previous shot. You might even see it here. There you go. There's the waders on, right? And they didn't rip. Also, another thing which I didn't expect them to excel in, but they did, was I'd be smoking with a Marlboro Red, so obviously a pre-rolled cigarette, but it's got propellant in it, and that cherry, that hot bit at the front of it, would fly off, and it hit my right knee. I saw it even a little bit late, like 2-3 seconds late, flicked it off, and yeah, it created like a bit of a burn on the front of it, but it didn't go through the bloody thing. Really, really, really impressive. Like, if I had to think of scenarios where I would think waders would be ineffective in, or quite bad in, I would imagine walking for long periods of time, probably uncomfortable, too warm, that kind of deal. They aren't, right? Honestly. They, I would think, spiky, horrible rocks that you're dragging your arse over, right? They're not. They're worked fantastically. And as you can see in this video, I'm literally sitting on limpets and all sorts. Kind of stuff that's like, not necessarily sharp, but kind of jagged and whatever. And they feel comfortable. Like, and they don't rip on me. And then lastly and finally, obviously fire, like literally a cigarette. And I was kind of like semi-dry at that point. So it's not like my waders were, soaking wet and I had that happen. They were pretty dry and fell on it and no big deal, right? So it excels in every single thing that it's supposed to do. It keeps you warm, keeps you dry. That's exactly what a wader's supposed to do, right? And then the tertiary things, like I mentioned already, it does quite well. But here's something else it does. I genuinely cannot get enough of these things. I think they're really, really great, and it's probably the best fishing purchase I ever made was these things. Really, really can't understate that. And yeah, by the way, as you know, as I mentioned earlier, this is literally my own money. So 420 or that kind of money out of my own pocket. It's no small feat. Music's off. You know the deal. I'm going to keep yapping. If you stay for 4 minutes, you like it enough already. The pockets, it's got these little side pockets on each side, so kind of breasted pockets with no zip on them, and they have a drain hole there down the middle. Now, what I found with these as well, so I have a fishing belt that some of you guys know, some of you guys don't know. I've got this like belt that's actually made to be like a tactical, like military belt, and I just basically fitted it out with all my stuff that I need for fishing, plus more, plus whatever, because I like to do that kind of stuff. Um, but these things actually, these waders, they have these two big pockets, zipless, that you can put lure boxes in, and it can fit quite large lure boxes in. So I could fit my hard lures and my soft plastics in. It was on this day actually where I was spinning a certain point. The hint is in the name. I was spinning this place with the lures in both my pockets, and I was fine. I didn't bring my belt out because I didn't want to get my first aid kit and everything else wet. And yes, first aid kit. I think you should carry one, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I didn't bring any of that out with me to the water, and I could just put the stuff in my pockets, and I was fine, fantastic. It also has zip pockets on the middle of the chest as well that you can zip down, and as long as you make sure you zip them all the way up, I have faith in them as well. I've weighted up to my chest with my phone in there and been completely fine. Now, I'll talk to you very shortly about like one small shortcoming I have with it. It's really not a big deal for me at all, but for some people, it's good to keep you informed. It's got this little basically see-through pocket thing for your phone on the inside left of the wader. So basically under your left armpit, it's got this little connector thing. It's like a female and a male Velcro, and it sticks on, and then it's got like this kind of poly pocket, kind of reinforced poly pocket Ziploc sandwich bag type thing. And that's where you're supposed to put your phone, and then you can have your phone with you at all times, and you can kind of pull that in and out. You can also, you're supposed to be able to use your phone through that thing. I have a shitty 2020 iPhone, SE that's cracked to bits. So that thing barely works, in normal conditions. So I didn't even bother. But the sealant that attaches that to my waders came off the other day. So what, year and a half on, it came off. So that's something to keep in mind, but I think that's it really. Nothing else has happened at all. It's got a boot clip that works. Everything else on it works. Belt on it works. Everything. Zip is perfect. Sometimes people have problems with zips. In case you don't know, zips can kind of run into problems, especially when you start, playing with salt water. But here, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight here. It's a little bit of common sense, but whatever. Some people say, if you're on YouTube, if you listen to a lot of YouTube like I tend to do, some people say waders only last you a season or last you 2 seasons. I think it's total nonsense. And they say this especially when in reference to saltwater. I've only actually used mine in saltwater. I haven't even gone freshwater spinning in these yet. So just so you understand, people say that, but I just come home every time. You kind of have to, bite the bullet, and I know you don't always want to do it, but you just remind yourself, 400 quid. Just pretend you're making 400 quid every time you do it, then it's dead easy. You have to hose yourself down. I jump outside with the garden hose, and I just hose myself down with that. I've also, to the chagrin of everybody else in my respective houses, have showered myself down or gone in the bath, and you have a load of sand and shit in the bath. Your mum's gone fucking mental at you, or your girlfriend's gone fucking mental at you. So just understand that will also, that'll also create problems. But just think of it, every single time they can give out all they want. You've made €400 that night. You're a very, very lucky man, right? So I've, like I said, had these for a year and a half. I do a good bit of fishing, obviously. I mean, I have a channel, right? Means I probably do a good bit of fishing. But I would say maybe maybe 2 weeks-ish, if we're going to put an actual average on it, in the year, that I'd be wearing these. Obviously more during summer, not quite as much during winter, almost never, but I still have brought it out the odd time during winter just because I'm a very optimistic person, and I like to think that I can catch bass during winter sometimes. And I've not had the luck. Other YouTube channels are catching stuff in October, bass in October. Yeah, the reason you guys haven't seen bass spinning in October for me is because that happens in my dreams and not in real life. So yeah, listen, that's what you have to be considering. You just have to always hose it down and make sure you get that zip through and through with that hose. I'll start wrapping it up here. There is nothing else really that I can say against these waders apart from that. And obviously, the price, 400 quid. But You kind of have to balance these things out. I did this with my rod and my reel, and maybe this is a thing just somebody who's like a super consumerist does, like a proper shopaholic type thing. It's like how an alcoholic would like justify all of his beers. I justify, my ridiculous fishing purchases. I go, how many times am I going to go out fishing? Would I pay 10 or 20 euro every single time to, have this privilege? And then it's never 10 or 20 euro, is it? You break it down to how many times you think you're going to use them. Would I pay 2 quid every single time I go fishing to have a set of waders? And you go, yeah, you would. And that's how I break it down. Maybe that's a destructive way to think about it, but yeah. Um, and finally, just one more thing, just so if you stuck all the way through, fair play to you. I've had shitty waders before in the past. I've had these plastic, horrible things. I have permanent scars on both of my ankles from the wellies. And I'm not saying that in like a joking, ha ha ha, funny way. Like I literally had these huge blisters and whatever because I'd walked far enough away from my house. This is I was fishing the Grand Canal and I had these notions that I was going to walk in there. I know I'd probably need like a literal radioactive suit to walk in there. I used to catch pike in there a lot before I did stuff on YouTube. But I literally walked far enough away from my house for it to cut into my ankles and just shear me up to bits. So, I mean, listen, uh, that's something just to keep in mind. That's obviously never happened with these, and these are very, very comfortable, and I'm super, super happy with them. If you've tuned in, if you have these or if you have something similar, let me know. But I think these are great. I was initially looking at these other ones. Henry Gilby was putting up on his site because he's got a blog. In case you guys don't know, Henry Gilby, the guy who invented these Savage Gear gravity stick. Um, Obviously more than that, but But anyways, it's getting too long anyway. I highly recommend them. Can't say enough bad. Can't say anything bad against them. Wish you guys all the best. Wish I had a code for to give you some money off on them. Uh, Christ, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? But what can you do? Tight lines, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the sun. God bless you, and be good. All right.